Hello, I'm Irina Munteanu. I'm a 28 years old actress and I came from Romania to London to be a part of the feature film Jewel of the Balkans.
How did you hear of the film?
It was 5 years ago in 2008 that I saw an ad on Star Now. I was supposed to come to London, so I applied. And I think my first casting was online. Then Richard, the director, contacted me and we kept in touch. And I attended my first real casting in 2010 in December. And after the casting, Richard offered me the main role. I was a bit surprised. And of course, I was really glad that I was going to be a part of the project.
What were your expectations of the film, of the role?
Well, I briefly knew about the story and the character. I didn't have so many expectations. I just waited for the script. I wanted to read the script. I was very curious because I thought it was an interesting idea. It was a story about sex trafficking. It was a story about a woman who's being trafficked, but in the same time, it's not the normal story that you read about or that you hear, because this woman has a talent and she's a musician, and in the end, she manages to escape the trafficking. So that's what really drew me to the story.
So in short, I forgot to do something here. It's probably take the clapperboard thing.
Yes.
I think it's important to do that. We'll start it again. No, what you said was good.
Okay.
Obviously, it was much different to how you were last time.
Yes, I told you.
You were more jovial.
Yes, but I wasn't prepared at all.
Much more serious.
Yes, but I want to be serious, and safe.
Right. No problem. It is a safe bet.
Yes.
I mean, it is kind of a serious role.
Okay, this is...
Hang on. Yeah.
This is Jewel of the Balkans.
Oh, sorry.
PR, take 17.
One more time. Sorry.
Jewel of the Balkans, PR, take 17.
How did you... can you tell us your name and what you do?
I'm Irina Munteanu. I'm a 28 years old actress, and I came from Romania to London to be a part of this project, the Jewel of the Balkans.
How did you hear about the role?
It was 5 years ago in 2008. I saw an ad on Star Now, and I applied because I was supposed to come to London. And I think my first casting was online. And after that, Richard, the director, contacted me, and we kept in touch for a few years. And I attended a real casting in 2010 in December.
How did you feel about waiting for a few years for the role?
Well, I think that in a way it was good that it took so much time, because I know that a feature takes a lot of time. The pre-production of a feature takes a lot of time. And I was waiting for it. It was a continuous wait.
Can you tell us what your expectations were of the role?
Well, what drew me to the story was the fact that it was a story about human trafficking, but it was a different story from others. Because the main character is not the usual woman who's being trafficked. She's a musician. And music helps her escape from trafficking, basically.
Don't do that. I want to say that again. Please, yes, because seriously, we can hear every little thing.
Okay.
Like the pause, we hear everything so well.
My expectations of the story and of the character. Well, what drew me to this story is the fact that it's not an unusual story about trafficking. It is a story of a woman from Eastern Europe who's being trafficked, but in the same time, she's a musician and she has a passion, and music helps her escape from the trafficking. So it's different from other stories of the kind.
Good. Tell me about your character in the film.
My character in the film is a young, naive woman who's passionate about music. She's also a dreamer. And her dream is to become a famous singer. That's why she comes to London. So she's very ambitious. And I think we have some things in common. We both love music. We are both ambitious. But she's definitely more reckless than I am. Maybe because she's younger. Through the film, she goes through this enormous transformation. She comes here full of hopes and dreams. And then she ends up in her worst nightmare. But I was glad that the film has a happy end, an open end. It's true, because we don't know what happens to her after. We can only imagine. But it is a happy end. So maybe she manages to sing and to fulfill her dreams.
Can you just say that again?
Okay.
I'm going to sell them on eBay.
Okay, please sell them. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Say the question again, please. It helps me. Thank you.
Tell me about the character in your film.
My character is
Tell me about the character in the film.
Elena. Elena is a young, naive woman from Eastern Europe who dreams to become a singer. She's classically trained as a singer. She's a musician. She's very ambitious. She wants to make it in London. And I think we have some things in common. We both love music, and we are both ambitious. But she's more reckless than me. Maybe because she's younger. And she takes these huge risks coming to London. And she goes through an immense transformation through the film. She comes as a naive dreamer and ends up in her worst nightmare. But in the same time, I like the fact that the film has an happy end, an open happy end, because we don't actually know what happens to the character. But we can imagine that she ran away with a producer, and she has finally fulfilled her dreams, which is good.
Can you tell me what you know of the issues of human trafficking?
This issue is the issue of human trafficking is a very serious issue we are confronting with, and I think that it's a global problem. It's true that there are some countries in which human trafficking is more developed, let's say, and I think that it's also related to the economical and political instability in those countries. Now, I'm coming from Eastern Europe, and we are pretty familiar with stories of women being trafficked. And usually they come from vulnerable families, but that's not a rule. We've even had stories of women who were nurses and were offered jobs, and they ended up being trafficked. So I think it's a very serious issue, and we need to eradicate it. But for that, we need to change people's mentality. And maybe this film makes a statement and will help people be more aware of this serious issue, and maybe they could get involved more in NGOs and so on, helping women escape and preventing and stopping human trafficking.
What was it like working with first-time feature film director? So what was it like working with a first-time feature film director?
Well, this is my first feature too. So it's also Richard's first feature. So we were both, I think, in the same situation, like our first feature film. I like the fact that the film was documentary style, because it gives us the actors more freedom, and we were free to improvise, and he managed to get some natural, organic reactions from us, which I think is very good. And it was good. It was a good experience.
Can you tell us a bit about the story?
Well, the story of Jewel of the Balkans is also the story of a woman who comes to London to become a singer, and she ends up in her worst nightmare, as I said. She is being trafficked. But also the story of a journalist who investigates a brothel undercover. And along the way, Elena, the character, meets different people, different men who help her in her career as a singer. And I think that, as I said, she goes through this huge transformation, and after the shock of being trafficked and abused, her self-esteem is very low, and she meets people along the way that help her build up her self-esteem. And that is like Sammy, the club owner, who helps her sing in his club. That is the musical producers that help her, that want to get her out of the situation she is in. Of course, it's also a crime thriller, and there's also an action and a murder going on, but I don't want to give too many details. So I think there are more plans and plots. We have Elena, who's struggling to escape the trafficking network. We have Radu, who's investigating the brothel. And we have Detective Cole and Inspector Leo, especially Detective Cole, who is trying to solve a murder. So it's very interesting to see how all these plans and how all these characters meet in the film and interfere. They connect with each other. That's very interesting because it has different plans and different characters.
What are the funniest moments in the film for you?
Funniest moment.
What are the best and worst moments during the filming for you?
The best and worst moment. It's hard to say the best or the worst, because nothing is good or bad. It depends on the way you see it. As an actor, you have to play heavy scenes and you have to act in light scenes as well. The most challenging moments for me were the dramatic tension moments. Especially, I had some scenes with Alex, the pimp, played by Sokol. I was abused. I was tortured mentally, physically, and it was challenging for me to play the victim because it's out of everyone's comfort zone. Definitely. And it was very interesting because Sokol, the actor, is such a genuinely kind guy. But when he was in the role, he was authentically frightening. So this switch was done rapidly. So those were my most challenging scenes. I had lighter scenes that I enjoyed singing, particularly singing La Pastorela, singing the Christmas song, which was spiritually uplifting, singing the blues. I think the blues fits the character's state of mind very well. And there were some funny moments, especially in the breaks or between shots. I don't particularly have any in mind.
That's true, you got some funny moments.
Yes.
Can you tell them to us?
Funny moments. Yes, there were funny moments when in the lighter scenes when somebody started laughing or something happened.
What are your most memorable moments?
I think each scene has something memorable in it, especially I think each scene has potential, and in each scene there were some moments which were very truthful. You could feel that my acting partners were very authentic and truthful, and I think that those were the memorable moments. I had some memorable moments with all of my acting partners in the club with Sammy, with Rodolfo, the actor who plays Sammy when I was singing La Pastorela, with Sokol, with Alex. Although there were dramatic and tension moments, but they're memorable. With Doug, who plays Radu, with almost everybody.
How did you prepare for the songs? Can you tell us a bit about the songs?
Well, I've practiced playing the guitar because I'm not a professional guitar player. I'm an amateur. I like playing the guitar and singing. And I tried to practice as much as I could when I had time. And also, for example, when I had to sing La Pastorela, which is a classical opera song, I did a bit of research. I read the lyrics carefully because they're in Italian. I speak a bit of Italian. I try to understand the message of the song so I can portray it better.
What was the message?
The message of La Pastorela. La Pastorela is about a shepherdess who's dreaming of a pure and innocent love with her shepherd. And I think that my character, although she's down and depressed, she somehow dreams about that. And maybe that's why she tries in every man that she meets in the film to find a savior and a rescuer.
And not someone who's just out.
Yes, and no, not someone who's just out to exploit her, because that's why she has a good connection with Rado, who is a journalist, because he's trying to help her. He's trying to expose the whole trafficking network. She has a good relationship with Sammy, the club owner, because Sammy sees her potential, her musical potential. She has a good relationship with the musical producers because they see in her the potential and not just a woman who's trafficked.
What are your hopes for the film?
Well, as I said before, I really hope this film makes a statement about human trafficking and makes people more aware of this issue. And I hope this film helps people get involved in stopping human trafficking. And also, I hope that the final, because we haven't seen the final film yet. We just know what we did as actors. I just hope that there will be a very good balance between the technically good scenes and the scenes where the performance is really good. And I'm looking forward for it. I'm looking forward for the screening, for the premiere, and for everything that will follow.
Can you give us your final comments, final thoughts?
Well, for me, it was an intense and short but very intense experience. And I would like to say something more about the cast and the crew, because I haven't said it yet. I was really lucky to act with such a wonderful cast. I think that our director, Richard, did a very good job in bringing together so many talented people. And they are not only talented, but also wonderful as people. We became friends. And sometimes I felt like in a big family. I felt on set like in a big multinational family because most of the actors are not from UK. They are foreigners just like me. And it was very interesting. It was like a melting pot. And I enjoyed it a lot. I enjoyed working with them. And with some of them, I became close friends. And I think that is very important for the interaction in the film also on set. And also, the crew was wonderful. We had a really good crew. Of course, starting with our director, Richard. And also Janus, the assistant director, and Lisa, the production manager, who's a wonderful person. And our sound designers, Han and Louis, they've all been very supportive and they worked a lot and they tried to make this project happen, basically. So this is it. If you have any more questions for me.
How did you prepare for the role? How did you get into the mind of Elena?
Oh, that was really challenging to imagine myself into that in her shoes, into that situation. But I tried to read as much as I could about the subject, and I tried to document myself a bit on that, and hopefully in the end I managed to portray the human emotions, to express some human emotions.
But how?
As they were. There are certain acting techniques. I'm not going to reveal them now. There are certain techniques which help actors get into a certain emotional state, and everybody has their own comfort zone, as I said, and that was difficult. It's difficult to get out of your comfort zone and to go into places where you normally don't want to be, but that's a part of the actor's job. Besides, I think it was also good that as an actor, it's true that you go deep inside yourself into places that maybe you don't want to go, but in the same time you can express some feelings, and it's also like a therapy somehow.
Thank you very much, Irina.
Thank you. Now,
Have a safe flight.
Mr. Director.
No, we're going to see it first.
Yes. But don't you think it was much better?